Hello, everyone. Good afternoon and good morning. We are going to give everybody a few minutes to just file in. But in the meantime, if you could go ahead and answer the polling question that I'm launching on screen, that would be great. Thanks so much. Okay, thank you so much. We are going to go ahead and get started here. It looks like we have folks from all over, which is really exciting. Thanks for joining us today. So first, I would like to welcome Gurley Wright from the Office of Planning, Research, and Evaluation.
Hello, everyone. Good afternoon. Good morning to others. Back in 2021, the Office of Planning, Research, and Evaluation within the Administration for Children and Families awarded a contract to MEF Associates and its subcontractor Mathematica to create a website for case managers, employment service providers, and job seekers to identify occupations that are attainable through short-term education or training and are projected to grow with family-sustaining wages. This website is a part of the Promising Occupation Achievable through Short-Term Education or Training for Low-Income Families project. Back to you, Sophie.
Thanks so much, Gurley. So just want to give you guys an introduction to our team. Today on the webinar, we have myself, Sophia Torres. I am a research analyst with MEF Associates. We also have Asaf Glosser, Annalisa Mostri, and Marissa Shank. Anna and Marissa are both with Mathematica. Some additional team members that we want to make sure we recognize are Hyundai Anank, Elizabeth Mugo, and Allie Burns. A few housekeeping things before we dive in. Just a brief using Zoom webinar intro. If you have any questions, please direct these to the Q&A box at the bottom of your screen. You can just type your questions in there and our webinar host will receive them. We're going to save all questions about the project and the website until the end. But if you do have any technical difficulties or questions that need immediate assistance, please submit them there and we'll work on the back end to assist you. You can also enable subtitles or closed captions for today's webinar if you'd like. Just go ahead and click the Show Captions button at the bottom of your screen to do that. So today we're going to give you an overview of the Promising Occupations website, show you how to use the website, do an interactive demonstration, Q&A portion, like I said, and then we will wrap things up. So one of the challenges that we were trying to solve in developing this website is the often disparate sources of labor market information that require a lot of clicking around and navigating through multiple websites. For the Promising Occupations website, we wanted to centralize all of that information. Early on, we did some user testing with frontline TANF staff to get their feedback about existing sites. And what they told us was that they found some of the existing sites to be a little challenging to navigate, and they said that they weren't very intuitive. So we wanted to make sure that this website was going to be intuitive and user-friendly. Finally, with over 900 separate occupations, we thought it would be valuable to find a way to quickly identify for users those that are most promising. And I will explain more in a minute what a promising occupation means. So to develop the Promising Occupations website, we followed a user-centered design process by bringing in perspectives of end users, like I said, the frontline employment services staff. The website can be used by employment services staff who help their clients identify occupations that are aligned with their career interests, educational background. It can also be used by clients directly. And then in addition to identifying occupations, the website also links occupation search results to job listings, training opportunities, certifications, and apprenticeships. And I'll make sure to point that out during our demonstration. So what is the Promising Occupations website? The website is a free resource for browsing over 600 occupations based on data from the most timely publicly available sources. So this includes national, state, and local labor market information drawn from BLS, DOL, and ONET. I will note that local data are only available for some states, 6 states, and I will point out which states those are in the demonstration. The website provides information for each occupation, including a description, required education level, on-the-job training, and work experience required. It also includes average hourly wages, projected growth, and annual job openings by geographic area. And as the name suggests, it focuses on occupations that are deemed promising. So what are promising occupations? The website features over 600 occupations, and all 600 of these occupations pay $15 or more per hour and are projected to grow over the next 10 years. But an occupation is marked as a promising occupation if it includes those 2 criteria and then also requires only short-term training, which presumably could be funded through TANF ENT funds, and has many job openings in the geographic area that the user is searching for. The website indicates promising occupations with a star. We're going to go ahead and switch over to the website demonstration to show you all. Okay, so this is the homepage of the Promising Occupations website. You can see here that there is a little brief description of what the website is. And then right from the homepage, you can get started with your search if you're ready. So there are a few different ways that you can start your search. If you already know the occupational type that you or your client is interested in, you can start there. So maybe your client is interested in pursuing a career in health sciences. You can select that from the drop-down menu, click Health Science, and then you would click Search. Another way to start, if maybe your client isn't sure what type of job they're interested in, you can start in your state. There are 2 ways to do that, either the drop-down menu again, or you can click on your state from the map. So I'll show you this. We will click on Florida, my home state. And you see here, search results in Florida. There are 586 results. So we're definitely going to want to narrow that down a bit. We can click Show Only Promising Occupations, which again are the occupations that meet those 4 criteria I outlined. And then that narrowed it down a good bit to 47. If we want to narrow it down even further, maybe we would go by education level. So there are different search filters here. If you click more filters, there are advanced searches here. We can search let's say our client's level of education is some college, no degree. I would click that here, apply filters, and let's see what I get. Okay, so that narrowed it down to 4 occupations, which seems a bit more doable to search through. You can also sort your results. So for this, for example, maybe our client really wants to focus on a job that has the highest hourly wage. We can sort that hourly wage, highest to lowest. And the job it gives us is this, the computer user support specialist. So you'll see on the search page, like I said, the promising occupations are marked with this star banner to let you know that they are a promising occupation. And then on the search page, you'll also see a brief description of each of the occupations listed. So it has the title of the occupation, a brief description, the occupation type, information technology, median hourly wage, education requirements, projected growth rate, and number of annual job openings. If you click on the occupation, it opens up that occupation profile. So this just goes into a little bit more detail and also has some really great features that I'm going to highlight for you. Here you'll see occupation details in Florida, again, the education requirements, growth opportunity, wage range, and then it also lists the required work experience and on-the-job training. It also lists related occupations. So if your client thinks this is interesting, but maybe also wants to see some related information technology occupations, you can click out to these links and it'll take you to those occupation profile pages. Also, if you want to discuss a little bit more in depth, or if your client has more questions about this specific job, you can click Explore More. And this will take you to ONET with the occupation profile page for computer user support specialists. This has even more details than the promising occupations profile page. And this shows you specific on-the-job tasks, technology skills, work activities, work context, all of those sorts of things that your client and yourself would want to discuss and consider. Additionally, on the occupation profile page, if they are ready to go ahead and get started on the career, maybe they want to explore job openings in their area, training opportunities, certification, or apprenticeship programs, these are all external links that will take you to pages for that. So Find Jobs takes you to Career One Stop, and it will auto-populate for computer user support specialists in Florida. And then here it's broken down by location even more. So they can go ahead and get started on job applications if they're ready. Maybe your client feels like they need some training and they want to explore training opportunities for this occupation. You can click Find Training. Again, it'll take us to Career One Stop. And it auto-populates computer user support specialists in Florida. And they can click on any of these links to get started there. So another way that you can search or start your search is just from the search occupations page here. And I want to highlight the local level data that we do have. So like I said before, the local level data are only available for 6 states. So that is Arizona, Idaho, Iowa, Minnesota, North Dakota, and Oregon. And you can see here, as I went down the list, that if a state has local level data, it's indicated by that plus sign. So we'll go ahead and search. We'll do Iowa, Central Iowa, and then click Apply Filters. So the search results that come up for Central Iowa, 316. Again, this is a lot of results, which is great, but we probably want to narrow it down a bit. So if we want to focus only on promising occupations, we would click that here. That narrowed it down to 31, which is great. You can, again, search A to Z, Z to A, if you want to search by hourly wage or maybe required education level. So maybe we want to do the education level this time for this client. We'll do minimum to maximum. And the minimum education level for promising occupations in Central Iowa would be some college, no degree. So maybe bookkeeping, accounting, and auditing looks interesting to your client. You can click on the occupation profile page. And again, this has even more details and those external links. Alternately, you can return to the results, and maybe you're doing this search in your own time. You're not in a meeting with your client. You're just doing some background research for them. You can share these search results with your client or even with yourself if you want to just save it so you have the information at a later date by clicking on these share these results. And an email will pop up for you. It auto-populates a subject and some body in the text, but of course you can make it your own and customize it. Some other features of the website that I want to point out are the About page, which just tells you a little bit more about the project, the website, how it came to be, and of course, a little bit more about OPRE. Also, if you need some more help on getting started, you might have some questions, you can go to the Getting Started page here. And this Getting Started page has our explainer video, which goes through a lot of the same things I'm going through today. So I'm not going to show you the video, but it's here for your reference if you need it in the future. And it's also broken out into sections, so you can go ahead and skip forward to the section that's most relevant to you. There are also frequently asked questions on the Getting Started page, which are organized by different categories, such as accessing the site, identifying promising occupations, searching on the promising occupations site, finding jobs, locating training opportunities, and then there are these helpful links. Something I want to highlight is a recently published brief that was written by some of our colleagues, Jeffrey Jen, Lorraine Perales, and Asaf Glosser. This is the Identifying and Combating Bias in TANF-funded employment services brief. This link will take you to the OPRE landing page where you can access the brief. It's a really great paper, and it talks about the different individual and structural biases that can influence employment services. It also provides concrete tips and strategies for individual staff as well as program leaders that can be adopted and implemented to combat biases. Another page that might be of interest to you is our data and methods page. So this details how we selected occupations that we featured on the website, how we identified promising occupations, the data sources that were used, specifically data sources for local level, and some key terms that you might see on the website. And then one last thing before we get into a more interactive demonstration. The website also is available in Spanish. So to switch between the English and Spanish site, you just click it here and it will populate for you completely in Spanish. For our purposes today, we'll stick to the English one though. Our explainer video is also in Spanish, so you would see that on the Getting Started page on the Spanish version of the site. Additionally, this website is compatible for mobile phones, tablets, so you'll see a different format if you view it from there, but it is compatible for all of those tools.